Good morning. I'm Lorenzo Patrick, Director of the Small Business Development Center, Alabama State University. A little bit about me. I have some 46 years of business experience. Worked as a chemist, a distiller, fermentation chemist, yeasting chemist, barrel maker. Graduated ASU, Troy. Had about 25 years of Seagram's distillers management background, and now 20 years of small business development, serving 8 counties in the state of Alabama in the so-called Black Belt. I'm here to talk about entrepreneurship. And of course, the question is, what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is the transferring of the abstract into reality and taking that idea and successfully managing it across cultures, across lines of demarcations, and across all events. Many entrepreneurs start and stop. I'm going to talk about things like why the entrepreneurship is so important to the economy of the U.S. Talk about some problems with entrepreneurship, and of course, why should anybody become an entrepreneur, and why start a small business, and of course, what is meant by the great risk, reward, and gain. In my brief years of working with entrepreneurs, I found that one of the main problems is the lack of a good business plan. So I've agreed to talk specifically about business plan creation. First of all, there are certain things an entrepreneur should have. Entrepreneurs should have passion, should have persistence, should good health and energy, creative and innovative, independence and self-reliance, intuition, self-confidence, market awareness, should be able to accept a challenge, and of course, a hard work ethic. Now, business expansion opportunities, once one becomes an entrepreneur, are met in many ways. Where does the idea come from? Sometimes it's unmet or undermet need. Studies, reading, going to the library and finding out information about the demand that is out there, new uses for old things, new market track trends, become part of a virtual corporation. Now, my experience is there is a shortage of individuals who really spend the time putting a proper business plan together. What's the business plan? it plans, it acts, it shows results, it records, it's being analyzed and evaluated. Well, how do you analyze a piece of paper? Something that we've put together on a piece of paper. How is that analyzed? One of the major issues, of course, is the design of a plan. When I ride around in the community, I see a balance sheet, I see a P&L, and I see cash flow analysis. Whether it's a school, whether it's a church, whether it's a farmer in the field, I see the balance sheet in its activation. So I've taken the time this morning to try to explain a part of the business plan that I think is the critical part that one should complete in its infancy. Early on, a lot of individuals look at a business plan, and I've looked at the business plan, and there's about 14 elements. I'm going to talk about this one. I'm going to talk about the financial plan. I'll come back to you later and break the other 14 or 13 elements down. But what I want to do today is to work on the financial plan. The first thing that a banker, your grandmother, of course, a friend wants to know if you have assets. If this business that you're talking about putting together has liabilities, personal liabilities. Who are you? Your assets are important, your liabilities are important, and of course, your net worth. That means that the banker, your grandmama, whoever is already trying to determine if you are a good risk, that you are taking care of the mundane and important things. Now, in the financial plan, the first thing that one is going to ask is, how much money are you going to make? And how are you going to make this money? And where do you forecast this money to be? So a sales forecast is important. The cost of the projected units sold, very critical. How much you got to pay for a unit versus what the price of the unit is going to be. Fixed assets that I need to operate. When you're a small business and you got this idea, you don't know what the square footage of your office space is going to be. You don't know what the cost of each product. You're in a state of confusion. That's expected because everybody that started a business has been in the same place. So don't become alarmed. That's an opportunity, of course, to come to the Small Business Development Center, Alabama State University, and find out exactly how you go through this part of the process. Growth expenses. This is the first day of 365 days. How do I come up with that money? That's the question that everybody has asked. Well, of course, you got to have some skin in the game. You got to have some skin in the game. If you drive the interstate, travel into the small cities, everybody that has constructed an entity had that answer, had to get that answer, have to find out what is going to be on my balance sheet the very first day that I start a business. How is my P&L or income statement going to look? How is the cash flow, how it's going to result? Those are the questions that bankers, people that have been in business for years, have to know. Why? The art of doing business is the art of reading those three documents: balance sheet, P&L, cash flow. Ratio analysis are created the results of what your idea is. When you start a business, you make a cake, you already know the size of the cake, you know the ingredients that's in the cake, and you hopefully will have a good outcome. If you don't put the right ingredients in, then the outcome will not be good. So creating the balance sheet, the P&L, and the cash flow early on, you have to understand the process. Now, as I said earlier, the design that I see is the idea, the balance sheet, the P&L, and the cash flow. Abstract to reality. Creating the balance sheet, creating the PL, and creating the cash flow. One has to learn that early on. Well, most of my clients say, well, I just get an accountant to do that for me. Well, you can't take the accountant into the room in the bank with the banker. The banker wants to see you. Well, I'll pay an accountant to do that. Accountants are great, but you have to learn the logic of the business model. And the financial plan requires that at the end of the day, you will have a balance sheet, a P&L, and a cash flow with ratio analysis. I've looked at a lot of plans. 90% of the people that create the plan don't take the time for the determination of financial analysis. It's just math. It, in fact, is 6th grade, 7th grade math. Come to ASU, Small Business Development Center, and get a dose of 6th grade math. Make sure that you are creating the things that the banker across the world, wherever you are, it's the same thing: the balance sheet, the P&L, and the cash flow statement. It is important because what is the balance sheet, P&L, and the cash flow statement revealing? Every business wants to know how efficient operations are. Every business wants to know how profitable operations are. Every business wants to know if there's liquidity. So the three players in the game that the banker, the CEO, you want, is to know how efficiently I am planning this business. Most bankers want you to do a 3-year projection, but you wouldn't do a projection that's inefficient. Unfortunately, I've seen some. Have someone create the module or the balance sheet, P&L, and the cash flow based on what you told them, gave it to you, you showed the bank. The banker calls me. Mr. Patrick, have you seen this person? I think I'll send them to you. And the reason that is you created an inefficient model. You created a non-profitable model. And of course, you didn't show that you would have money in the first day, 30th day, 365 days in your projections. It's very important that you know exactly what story you are transmitting in creation of your business plan. Now, I'm gonna finish there and I'll come back to you and talk about those other 11 to 12 pieces of the business plan that one has to be an expert in. Thank you.